What's up, everybody? Welcome to Going Nuts with Glenn and Gracie. I'm Glenn the Baker.
And I'm Gracie, the female comedian.
Welcome to episode 22?
22.
Holy crap. We're getting up there.
I know.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
And thanks for liking.
And yeah, hit the likes, everybody. Hit the thumbs up. Don't just watch the video all the way to the end without hitting the thumbs up.
So we have guests today, right?
Yes, we got guests.
Yes,
all right.
yay!
Ladies and gentlemen, our next guests are a father and son pair of filmmakers. The father, I've known him my whole life.
Yeah.
And the son, I've known him his whole life.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, our good friends and filmmakers, Rosendo and Aaron Salazar. What's up, guys?
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
Good. You guys look great. Russell, I like the background there. I like that sticker.
Oh yeah, I love that sticker too.
I got stickers all over the place.
And you know they don't come off because we stuck one on a glass and I've watched it 100 times and it's still stuck on the glass.
Like the ones they give you in the parking lot of your apartment when you don't have your registration up to date.
Those are the ones. We got the exact same adhesive on our stickers.
So where do you guys live at so people in the audience can know?
Yeah, where are we coming from?
Yeah.
I'm in Modesto area, Central California. I moved out here in January for a new job.
Cool.
And I was in Vegas for the last 5 years.
How's that move?
It's been good. Born and raised in California, and I split time between LA and Sacramento, so I was up in this part of the country all the time when I was a kid growing up.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It's nice and calm. It might be a little conservative for me, but it's not like your traditional California, Southern California.
And
Right.
then, and then all this traveling, are you still a Dodger fan?
Of course.
Okay,
Of course.
Just look at his shirt. I mean, come on. Look at the shirt.
yeah.
Gracie.
Oh shucks. Well, his I just think below the chat. I just think.
Rocking the Kershaw today.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't say San Francisco or
I saw
Oakland or something.
I just saw a little Nike sticker.
Okay. Well, fair enough. And Aaron, you're in Vegas, right?
Yeah, I'm in Vegas. I moved here last November. I was in Atlanta for 3 years working on film sets. And then COVID happened and everything slowed down. And I took a gamble on thinking when it'll come back and thought it's not. So I moved back. And then a week later, it came back and I got job offer after job offer, but it was too late. I'm here now. I moved here to go back to school. And I'm pursuing to become a pilot for commercial pilot. I work at an airline currently.
Wow.
And yeah, so I'm kind of just all over the place, but I love Vegas. I'll be here for a while. And yeah, it's great.
That's pretty cool. I mean, right now, I don't know how to describe this, but I think a long time ago, if you would have said you were going to be a pilot after you were a filmmaker or whatever, everyone would have said you were nuts. And now I think it all just kind of goes, everybody lives like that,
Yeah.
Even us, me in my 40s, Gracie, by the way, Gracie's turning 65 tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Whoa.
Happy birthday, Gracie.
Thank you. I'm ready to collect that Social Security check.
And look at her. She's still doing wacky stuff with me. I think it's really cool. This is how we should all be living.
Yeah, I have always been into planes. I worked in the airline industry years ago before I went into movie stuff. And it's just such a stable career that it's one of the few genuine millionaire careers. Like everybody after 20 years is in the $3 to $5 million range. They make so much money, and I figured I'm only 27. By the time I'm your guys' age, I could have a couple $1,000,000 and can get back to making movies
and fly us around.
Exactly. That's
there you go, man. I love it.
Can't beat the benefits, that's for sure. The flying benefits.
I live near I live in the San Gabriel Valley. I live near the San Gabriel Airport. It's a really tiny little airport. They give flying lessons there. Every time I drive by there, I'm like tempted to just, see how much they
Yeah, you
are.
can do a discovery. Do a discovery flight. It's like an hour and it's like $100. And someone will take you up and let you have the controls for a few minutes and drive around and see if you like it. And then they're like, "Okay, cool. When do you want to do lessons?" But people just do it all the time because it's a free date night option, really. But
yeah, I mean, hey,
yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
I mean, hey, I got a plane,
Yep.
Let's fly to Catalina or something.
Oh, exactly. That's what I want to do. I want to fly into Catalina, that tiny little field.
Okay, so let's talk about the film that you made, A Safe Place. And your production company is called Grandma Honey.
Grandma Honey Films. Yeah, after my maternal grandmother who passed away in 2015, her name was Connie Mendoza. But when I was a little baby, I couldn't say Connie, so it was Grandma Honey from the very beginning. And so we decided to name it after her. Our logo is a bee. Bees are very important to us. I think my dad has a bee tattoo, and I'm getting one soon. So bees are very important to us, and Grandma Honey is something that I hope to keep going. I've had 3 films so far. I'm currently finishing the 3rd one after 4 years or so. Hopefully it'll be done soon. Lots of plans for the future. I know my dad's writing a lot of stuff. My mom has ideas. My siblings have ideas. Friends have ideas. So we're all.
I got ideas too.
Glenn's got ideas.
So Glenn always has ideas. Yeah.
So Russ, sorry, Gracie, you were gonna say. No. Russ, you wrote A Safe Place, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting how that came about. It actually started out. It was a nightmare I had. Just a vivid dream, start to finish. I woke up and I started writing and just jotting down notes. And I think that first night I got the entire treatment done, start to finish. And then when I handed it over to Aaron and I gave him just a rundown of the story, him and his friend Bryce were like, "Yeah, let's do that." I mean, it was like just ready to go.
It was like a couple months, right? Because you did this. Yeah. Like spring 2017, and we shot it the last week in July.
Yeah, it was very fast beginning from the first pen to paper to the finished product. The hardest thing was our post-production. The actual filming we
did in 3 days.
Yeah, we did in 3 days. We rented an Airbnb and kind of shot guerrilla style. And it's just I think it's a good story. It has, it was fun to shoot. It has a little bit of a horror theme to it. But I feel like the way we shot it, it's very similar in that it's not, the horror is not jump fright or hidden from you. Everything's in plain sight. We shot it. Most of the scenes are done either in dusk or during the day. And it really just kind of brings you along for the ride. So I'm not exactly sure how I even got the idea for it, other than it was just a dream one night.
If somebody wants to watch this film, where can they watch it at?
It's on our Grandma Honey Films. We have a YouTube channel that it's available on.
Okay.
Go to our website. There's links at the bottom.
Yeah.
For our Vimeo. I'm pulling this up just to make sure that I paid the bill. Let's see.
I want to remind everyone you can find it on YouTube. You can look up Grandma Honey Films, and .com. The name of the movie is A Safe Place. It's I would call it a thriller. Kind of. It's even kind of like a character study.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
I think, and actually the way I wrote it was a little more chronological than what we shot, but we didn't change a whole lot.
No, we had a problem. Any production has the problem of you have to make a big change on the day of, and we didn't realize that this Airbnb was like solar powered and had a pretty shitty battery setup. And so the first night we were shooting a night scene, we killed the power multiple times. And so we quickly realized, hey, we can't do this at night. So we have to do this in the morning. And so we changed it on the fly, but it still worked out.
So you did day for night, or no, you changed
We
night
just did
into day.
change it to night to day, yeah. And to be honest, I can't even remember what we were shooting at night. And like it's been so many years that it's like obviously it wasn't that important because it worked out.
Yeah, I think it was just some interior filler shots that we really didn't use a whole lot of. In fact, any of the stuff that we shot during the day, I don't think we even used.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. We reshot a couple of things with the photograph.
Yeah.
And we realized we don't even need this.
And you guys shot this outside of Vegas?
Yeah, in Pahrump.
Pahrump.
Yeah, so it's about 45 minutes away from Vegas, out in the middle of the desert. We found an Airbnb that is literally the last house on the block. And it's
no neighbors.
No neighbors whatsoever, except for this one property that has two houses. So that was a little tricky, hiding the bigger house behind this little bungalow that we shot in.
And of course, the Airbnb listing mentioned that there was a second house, but it never showed in the pictures that it's literally like 20 feet behind the other house.
Yeah.
So we had to be very clever and be like, well, we can't ever look east. a huge house.
Yeah, a giant wood cabin.
Yeah, a wood cabin. It didn't even because the other house is like desert adobe-ish, and then behind it is like a Lake Tahoe log cabin. It's very funny.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I didn't know that house was there when I seen film, so you did a good job of hiding it. So the actors, how did you hook up with them? And who are they actually?
So she is Natalie is Bryce, the co-director's wife.
Okay.
And she was just always going to be the person because it's like she's an actor. She's made a lot of films with Bryce in school. They went to CU Boulder, I believe. And they made films there together. And so we were like, well, Natalie is just going to be Sydney. As for Christian, I was out of town. It was like 4 years ago, literally this week. I was out of town to meet with a friend, and I came back, and my mom and dad, and I think Bryce had Skyped with a guy. And I came back from my trip to LA, and they're like, oh, we have a person. His name's Christian. He'll be great. And I was like, okay, cool, fine. Like whatever. Because in my mind, I've never really cared for actors. It's a little I get secondhand embarrassment watching them do the thing. So even directing it, I was from afar. I was I just if you're gonna cry or be hysterical, I'm gonna just go in the other room and just watch it on a monitor because it's I can't stay around it. So the fact that they were oh yeah, Christian's great, you'll like him. I was I don't really have to like him.
Yeah,
do his thing.
I guess we should give him props and a shout out. That's Christian McGeever.
Yeah, Christian McGeever. He's in LA like any actor. And Sydney, I don't think she's acting anymore, but she and her husband Bryce still live in Atlanta, and she works in production design department on lots of shows. She did that new movie coming out, Dear Evan Hansen. She's in the production design department on that as an office PA, but quickly moved up to an assistant. So she's still around in Hollywood, and Bryce is still making shorts.
Our cameraman.
Our cameraman, what the heck?
Brock.
Brock Bird was Bryce's cameraman all throughout college. He's also from Denver, so he was able to come out. He it's kind of a big deal now. He was second what's it called? Second unit camera for Walking Dead for like 5-6 seasons.
Oh wow.
And he's worked on a lot of like Netflix films. That one movie that came out last year called The Devil All the Time. He was the first camera assistant on that. So everyone's doing stuff.
Cool. And then one of the other actors in your film was your parents. So what was it like directing? What was it like directing your dad?
The exact same way. I feel like I don't remember if we had 2 other people that canceled, or if we always were just going to do them because we were like, they're going to be there, why not?
Right.
And also because the little boy that we got was Hispanic and young, and we were like, oh, then it could just be like dad, and like it just could be my parents, could be their parents. That's kind of how it just fell into place.
Yeah, I don't think we had planned casting that to save money. I think was the big idea on that. And the parts are so minimal that I didn't think it was that crucial.
Yeah. I think mom, all she does is scream, and you have your little tiny, you can use my phone or whatever you tell her.
Yeah, sure, it's in the house or something like that.
So
well done, Russ.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's very fun. If you look at the IMDb for the short, it lists them all as like having so many roles. And that was like the thing. You know, after we spent the 3 days in Vegas or in Pahrump, our editor Tom came to visit from Boston, and he's currently my roommate, so he's here somewhere. But he came for a week, and it's like we realized we still have a lot of work to do, and it sort of became like everybody does everything. Like Aiden and Tom, my brother Aiden, he did all the sound mixing, sound recording, and we did all of the ADR stuff at my brother's school that he was going to. We snuck in and stole all the studio time we could. And Tom spent a year or so editing it. He did many different versions of it. The film saw a lot of different things, and we kind of saw over time that it went from being like, oh, Aaron directed this and Russ wrote it, to like everybody made it. And you know, I've never been like one to take full credit for anything, so it was very easy for me to be like, this is just a film by Grandma Honey.
Cool. You know, when I talk to your dad, he's like, oh no, I did everything, you know, it's all me. You know?
See? Well, he's like, oh, and Aaron's my son, so I technically directed it vicariously through him. Yeah, no,
I'm kidding,
I
guys.
totally like, people can be like that, and I have no problem.
It's always good to be humble, you know.
I think it's the opposite of humble. I think that I'm being more arrogant and saying, oh, it worked out so well because I gathered such a wonderful team, and if I didn't put all these people together because they know me, then it wouldn't have worked out. So I'm being backhanded humble.
That's like level up arrogant right there. I like it.
So people will be like, oh my gosh, you're so good. It's like, no, I didn't do it. Tom did. But if I didn't find Tom, it wouldn't be.
Sounds like somebody we know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, no, that's totally like in a lot of industries. I mean, I never did like full on cooking, but I worked in Chipotle for a long time. And I remember my manager would be like, you have to have a good kitchen manager because then the blame comes on you and you don't have good people below you. And it's like, I don't want that blame, but as a director, I still get that blame.
You know, speaking of cooking, you do a lot of cooking, or I used to see all your cooking videos on Instagram. One of the things that you did one time that tripped me out, I think I even told Gracie, I don't know where you were, but you found some wood, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC wood.
Yeah, it was sorry, excuse me.
Oh, no worries.
Drink some water.
Walmart like this last holiday season was selling scented firewood, and they had a KFC, what is it, 7 herbs and spices or whatever.
Yeah, they were logs, and they had the kernel on them, and that's
Yeah,
what
they were
they were.
KFC scented firewood. I think that we still have them in the garage. They smelled really bad sitting on my step in the living room because I got them for my brother because I was like, he'll think that's funny. And we never burned them, but they just smelled so like stale chicken spices. Put them in the garage.
So you didn't use them? I thought you used them.
No, not yet. I'm sure we will. They also had like they had like a barbecue sauce scented firewood. Yeah.
So I mean, they're for cooking, right? I mean,
I don't really know. I thought it was just like a novelty gift.
I mean, because I think that's a pretty cruel gift, you know, like let's say somebody's burning those and, you know, people are smelling Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Their living room to smell like that. That'd be kind of gross. Especially or expecting it.
Or someone might smell it and think that there's chicken in that house and there's nothing there. It's
yeah,
like,
you don't want to put it in your fireplace.
It's just as cruel, like when you go to open house and they have the air freshener that smells like
cinnamon roll.
Or the cinnamon roll. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But they don't got any to pass out.
Our company used to do that because they would have, you know, because I'm in the fashion industry, when they would do their showroom and they'd have clients, you know, they would have like a little, they'd be baking cookies, like chocolate chip cookies.
Mm-hmm.
So it smells like chocolate chip cookies when the customer walks in. So like, I don't know what it does, but you know.
But you don't get any cookies to eat.
Well,
that's not fair.
No, but actually they did give them cookies. I mean, they cooked them and I don't know, but all I know is they did cookies and it was crazy.
I think the thing that we learned most about the whole process while making a safe place is that it just takes a lot of time. You can have plans for everything, but something's always
Murphy's Law
gonna go wrong. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So Russ, you mentioned that post-production is what took the longest.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of things that we didn't realize we had done or not done during shooting that we, you know, that became apparent as we're putting the production together. I mean, my job was done. I wrote it. They acted it out. I acted my part. So once it got to that point, and I basically was done with my part of it, and handed it off to Aaron. Aaron started to realize a few things. The sound wasn't quite right, mixing between inside and outside. We had to deal with a house that had a vaulted ceiling.
Yeah, like a 2-story vaulted ceiling.
2-story vaulted ceiling with a loft. So anything you said was just, you washed out. You couldn't hear anything. It was so quiet.
And you could also hear the damn generator
kicking on in the background.
In the background.
We had to shut off the AC when we were shooting because it was too damn loud.
Oh yeah, we've experienced that last week.
Yeah,
on our last show. We're like, what is that noise?
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that we just didn't realize. And when I moved to Atlanta and started working on film sets, I was like, oh my gosh, like they always turn off the air when they film. Like, I don't know why it never occurred to me that was a thing. Because I spent time on film sets, like on Lovecraft Country. I'll be on the radio and he would say, can you turn off the AC? And then like 4 minutes later, he's like, can you turn the AC back on? And I would literally just sit and press the button all day. So yeah, there's just so many things we didn't know. And of course you think, oh, we'll do better next time. Well, a year later, 2018, shot my third film, and it's 2021 and we're still not done with it because I didn't learn from the last time. So yeah, it's just it's a never-ending process. You think you can think of everything, like, and then something that it comes down to like the picking the people thing, like, oh, I don't need to know about how the camera works because I have a cameraman who knows how the camera works. So if he's happy, I'm happy. Well, that's how it should go, right? So I figure what I did learn from doing Safe Place with Dad and the family was to get people who know what they're doing. Well, that's still the film is still not finished, so that's not the missing key. I still don't know.
Yeah, because your third film is shot by a professional cinematographer who's got huge credentials.
Yeah, he's very famous, and like he's becoming increasingly more famous. So every time that I'm just like, this needs to be finished, because by the time it's out there, he's going to be an Oscar-winning dude, and he's going to be too famous for me. So, yeah, it's. I mean, every like 3 to 6 months, I have like a meltdown, being like, "Why isn't this film done?" But it's
so you're still working on that right now. Can you tell us anything about that project?
Yeah, so it was like it was supposed to be my serious film, like considering my first one I did, Gas and Go, was like a kind of experimental student where I shot it using convenience store cameras, and it's like a convenience store robbery from the perspective of eight cameras, and you see all 8 cameras on the screen at one time. So that was my like one kind of cool experiment, like get my name out there kind of thing. The second one was A Safe Place, which I co-directed, and this third one was supposed to be like, I shot it on 35mm film. It's very sentimental. It's very serious. It's about death. I was, all these things that are like in the next step of what kind of films you make when you're trying to get out there. And just thing after thing of planning just fell through. Mainly, this is so like funny thinking now, but we wanted to do 3D sound. There's a company called Mitra 3D. They make ASMR microphones that have like the ears on them, and they record left and right channel, and they record very spatially, which is like even Apple's very big about spatial audio. And like Dolby has like 20 channels and all this stuff. Kanye West invented something called Donda sound. So like this was 4 years ago, we were going to be ahead of this curve with this spatial audio thing. So we found this microphone called a Mitra 3D. It was like $1,200, and we bought it. Okay, we bought it months early, and it didn't show up, and so we didn't realize that it was being handmade by this company. And by the time we got it, the movie was already shot. So we didn't record any sound on that at the day of, which usually, because you're filming with film cameras, film doesn't usually do sound. I mean, not anymore. They used to do sound sync, but so we were thinking, okay, fine. All of our shots are just like nature. There's hardly any dialogue, or there's no dialogue really. We could just re-record those sounds later in Vegas or Atlanta or whatever. There's only like 12 scenes. We only need like 50 sounds. I made a list multiple times. Anyway, it is very difficult to get sounds and try and recreate something you've seen before.
Now, Russ, you showed me, you said this movie's about death. Russ, I think I've seen clips from it, or I think I've seen footage of it. Didn't you send me some?
Yeah. I shared some of the early clips that that Aaron was working on, and he had shared with us, just to give you an idea of what it's about. And it's very
atmospheric. I thought it was.
Yeah, it spans between industrial in some cases, very cold, and clinical, to very nature driven. It's just a really unusual film, and you don't see anything out there like it that touches on death, but not in like a
not in a morbid way. Yeah.
No, it's the beauty of death.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break. We're going to pause our cameras real quick and redo our little Anchor app. We'll take a little break, and we'll continue talking to Russ and Aaron about this death movie. That's a monster just waiting to be created right there.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're back, guys, and we're talking about your third film, Aaron, about this death film. I've seen some footage of it. Looks pretty cool. I wanted to ask you. Your dad told me that you were at Cannes a couple years ago, and
Yeah,
actually, your
3
dad and I
years.
were making plans to go to Cannes. When was it? Last year, Russ, or when
It was supposed to be this year. It
Yeah,
was supposed
this
to be
year.
May.
It
Yeah.
starts tomorrow.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, they moved it this year. I'm very
I guess we're not going.
yeah. Yeah, no, Cannes Film Festival. Genuinely my favorite topic of all time. I could talk about it forever. I went in 2016 for Gas and Go. It was a part of the Short Film Corner, which is like a convention of sorts, where you submit your film, it's viewed, and it's accepted or denied. I was accepted. I have it somewhere. It's maybe downstairs. But the best part about it is, by being invited, you get access to what's called the Marché du Film, the film market. And when you go to the film market, they give you like 5 phone book sized catalogs of just hundreds of thousands of people who want to make movies,
Mhm.
and want to pay you to make movies and pay for
oh
your
wow.
project.
Mhm.
You just have to, like, there's rules and regulations with every country, and tax brackets and everything, and they tell you every time you go to Cannes, they're like, in this book is everything you need to make your next movie. I haven't figured it out yet, obviously, but it's such a wonderful experience. Cannes is so incredible. I wish I could go every year. But when I went my first year for Gas and Go, I did a lot of prep. I was accepted. So we made the film Gas and Go in one evening, and then submitted it the next morning, and found out like 3 or 4 days later that we got in.
Wow.
This was because the date on Gas and Go is it's the full title is Gas and Go 032416, which was March 23rd, 2016. That was literally the day we filmed it. It got accepted 3 or 4 days later, and then Cannes is like 6 weeks from that point. So
Wow.
we got accepted, and then I had to get a passport. I had to come up with money, get a plane ticket, get a hotel, like everything I could. My parents were very helpful. My first year I went really slumming along with hardly anything, but just being there was the whole thing. I did a lot of prep. I talked to a lot of people. I showed my film to a lot of people. I emailed hundreds and hundreds of people from those catalogs to see my film. I did the best I could. I met with this guy. I don't remember his name. I have it written down somewhere, I'm sure. From Chile, and he offered me $250,000 US in Chile to make something. But the problem is I'd have to make it in Chile with the full Chilean crew cast and everything. And I was like, well, how old was I? This is 2016, so like 5 years ago. I was like 22. And I was just overwhelmed and didn't really know what to do. And we kind of fell out of contact. But basically, Canada is just such a wonderful experience. I went back 2 more times, 2017 and 2018, with no film, really. The funny thing is, even though we made A Safe Place in 2017, it wasn't officially finished until March 2020. So we submitted to Cannes in 2020 and got denied. But then the ironic funny thing is 2 weeks later, Cannes was canceled.
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever. And also, I think the reason it got denied is because it had been listed on my IMDb since 2017. And Cannes only lets you submit things if they're made in the previous calendar year. It's just like a paperwork thing. Like, obviously people make films for years and years and years and submit it and are in the festival all the time. But for whatever reason, how I listed it online had a paper trail showing that it's been around for a long time. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's kind of the thing. But yeah, so Cannes is just all about, it's industry only. So there's no, well, there are, you can get in, you just have to know how to do it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, it's mostly just famous people and critics. And so you go and you just like sneak into stuff. Like in 2017, I found out where the Kodak party was going to be on a yacht, on Harvey Weinstein's yacht, actually.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
I went because I knew, it's so crazy, but basically I knew someone was going to be there. So I went to the yacht and said, I'm there +1. And the guy was very French and was like, okay, cool, just take your shoes off before you come on the yacht. Like, that was it. Like, he was so easy to get in. So I go on the boat and take my shoes off. And basically all the famous people had left already. So I was like, this is lame. Harvey wasn't there anymore. And I went back to the pile of shoes, like, and went to go find my shoes, and someone had taken them.
Oh my God.
So I just took someone else's shoes and just left because I was like, whatever. And I just like wore these really small Gucci loafers around Cannes. I don't know whose shoes they were, but the person who stole my shoes were just like some shitty $40 shoes from Aldo. So and then I just sold the Gucci loafers on eBay for like $500 when I got home because I needed money.
Wow.
So yeah, Cannes is just like, a couple years ago, a filmmaker
Maybe they belong to like Gerard Depardieu or something.
I know.
It's like...
before he got canceled. I think the thing I learned the most is a couple years ago I met this filmmaker and he told me to just go where you're not invited, and eventually someone will ask you what you want. And so that's kind of been like because I'm not a very like outgoing person, but when I'm at like festivals, I'm just like, I don't care, arrest me if you want me to leave, like I'm gonna get into that party. And so that's how I've spent the last 3 Cannes, just like going to these festivals and being like, well, I know this person's in there and I met them last night at this hotel because I did my homework, and I'm like, that's where they're staying probably. And it's like, I met them at the bar at the Majestic and they said I can come tomorrow and just say I'm their guest, and it worked. So that's kind of just how I've been. And when I go back to Cannes next year, hopefully I'll do the same thing.
Sneak into parties.
Sneak into the parties.
Yeah.
It's about the networking that you do there and the people that you meet, and it pays off later. I mean, we went to the Call Me by Your Name premiere at
AFI
Chinese Theater at the AFI, and we ended up in the after party meeting the cast and director because Aaron knew the editor,
and we ran into him at a stoplight, and he was going to the party, and we were like, hey, can we follow you? And he's like, sure, come on in.
Nice.
So yeah, it's like, that's one of the best things my mom ever taught me as a kid, was like just networking. And I think dad's always like, my dad has like so many business cards of so many people, so he's always just like, you just have to have people. You don't know what you need them for now, but one day you might need them, and so you should just always have their info. That's kind of how I've just always thought of things. So now I know people all over the world that if I ever just go to Paris for one day, it could be like, hey, can I stay here? If I'm in Italy, or if I'm in Chicago, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what I learned at these festivals. Is to just know people. Even if I'm not moving up in the filmmaking world, I'm still like in the circle, is what I've like tried to do. So I could probably teach a class on networking. I've learned so much stuff about it. So many things not to do, so many things to do, but yeah, so Still Life is my 3rd film that you wanted me to talk about, the death one. Basically, In 2015, my grandmother passed away, the one that we named Grandma Honey Films after.
Mhm.
And I wasn't there when she died, but I remember having such a strong sense of knowing what the room looked like. She died at the hospital in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I just remember thinking, well, she was probably surrounded by sunflowers. Someone must have bought her sunflowers because she loves sunflowers. And I remember thinking she probably had those like grippy footy socks that they give you at the hospital, because she was always at the hospital because she's always sick, and she always had those socks on. So I was like, she definitely was wearing those socks when she died. And I also thought that she probably had those nasty, weird aftertaste apple juice cups with the tinfoil lid that they give you at the hospital. And I thought all these things kind of tell a story of Grandma Honey just in the images that surrounded her body. And so when she died, those those objects were still there. And that told the story of Grandma Honey and who she was. So that was, I thought about that for a while. And then I called my camera man, his name's Dustin Lane. He was he's from Tennessee, but he's in Atlanta now. I called him while sitting at an In-N-Out here in Vegas in between classes at the community college. I said, hey, I have this idea about my dead grandma and about death. And he said, well, that's great, but you need to come up with more like scenarios. So over the next like week, I think I came up with like 15 scenarios. And I said, what do you think of these? He said, great. If you figure them out, map them out, like, you know, do the role of a producer and like put time and place and actor and everything together, he's like, I'll do it for free. I was like, cool. Because Dustin, he's famous now. And I don't say that to make me sound cooler. I'm just like jealous that he's so famous. But he kind of just said, if you can come up with these scenarios and you can put together and tell me where to be, I'll be there. And so August 2018, or so that was May. That summer I moved to Atlanta with Tom, roommate Tom, editor Tom. And Tom had a really good job prior to moving there. And he was like, hey, I'll just pay for this movie and Dustin will pay and my parents will also help and I'll ask a few other folks for money. And we put together about 10 grand. And for 3 months that I lived in Atlanta, well, no, just like, 3 months, June, July. So like 6 weeks, basically. I spent every day making phone calls, and I figured we'd do everything in Idaho because we used to live there. And I know lots of people there that we can just go. I haven't talked to them in 15 years, but if I called them and say, hey, I'm making a movie, can I stay at your house? And they all said yes. And we went up to Idaho in August, and we did the whole film in 4 days in like a 2,000-mile loop. We drove from Los Angeles all the way up to Idaho Falls, down through back of Vegas or Nevada, back to Los Angeles, and we did it in 4 or 5 days.
Wow.
Nice.
Just the three of us, me, Dustin, and Tom. And all of our actors were in the places that we went to. I found people every step of the way.
Aaron, I forgot to ask, what are you shooting this on?
This was on 35 millimeters. So we used, and that was a part of the deal. Dustin owns an Arri Flex 435, which is like a very professional film camera. It's not quite the workhorse of the industry, but it's very good quality. It's no Panavision or anything, but it's, you know,
Arri is a well-known film
Arri
camera.
is up there. And we shot the film on ends, which means that we didn't have full film reels. We just had what was left over from productions, and then Dustin spliced them together himself. So technically, Still Life was made from leftover film from like First Man, I, Tanya, Walking Dead. Basically, Dustin knew a guy who had ends, and they spliced them together. And that's how we shot the film.
Cool.
Wow.
That's recycled, I guess,
Yeah.
pretty
How
much.
many cans did you end up using?
Dustin was able to find 7 cans worth, so 2,800 feet, which is like 35 and a half minutes. And the film was not free, but I think Dustin's contribution, because he believed in the project so much, was that he was going to cover the film. So he paid for the film and he owned the camera. So the camera was free with Dustin, but he wanted us to pay for the lens. So we did that. And yeah, so we shot on ends and we sent everything to Photochem Burbank. We did it out of Photochem Burbank, which was such a cool experience. I have the hard drive right here, actually. You take all of your film to Photochem with a hard drive, and they write out a little receipt for you. And they're like, hey, come back in 3 days. And you come back and they give you your prints back. The cool thing is because it was 7 films worth, they spliced it together into 3 reels of 800 feet. Well, one's like, there's 2 800 feet and then one like 450 or whatever. So I have the film prints in my closet here. If I ever want to get them rescanned or restored down the way, but we had it scanned at a full frame 4K. I mean, the images are insane. They look so good, and it's very difficult to edit because each frame itself is like 55 megabytes.
Interesting.
So our 30 minutes of footage is like 4 terabytes long or big. Like that's how big the files are.
Oh my God. So what do you edit it on? Like the HAL 2000 or something? I mean,
Yeah, exactly. No, we have to, that's a part of the learning process that we didn't know anything about. It's called by proxies. So you make proxies, and it's like so insane. I'm learning myself because after all these years, I'm unhappy with the edit that I myself am learning to edit so I can edit it myself.
I think you're better off editing it on an old Moviola.
I know,
just using
that's exactly right.
And splicing it and putting it together that way.
That's exactly right. And that's what the footage is in my closet for. But basically you just have to make copies of it. And every time you make a copy, it gets lower quality. And the cool thing about it is I'm using Adobe Premiere, is that you plug in, I think I'm at like 4 proxies in. It's called like a 4442 file or whatever, a proxy 4442. It looks like shit, right? So I edit using those, and then when I want to render it out, I just press a single button and it puts the original files in there. So I edit using these shitty like GameCube graphic, real fuzzy images. I render it out. It takes like 4 days. And then I have like a 50 gigabyte, 4-minute long project, but it's in the highest quality 4K like ever.
Interesting.
So that's what I'm learning. I mean, it makes me nervous because my next project, which I'm been working on with my dad for about a decade, it makes me nervous because that one we want to be like 20 minutes long, and it's like, how the hell am I going to have? I can't afford a 100 terabyte hard drive, which is like it makes me nervous. So, but that's another thing.
Our friend Joe Herrera, he was on a couple of episodes back. He's a TV producer and an editor mainly. He works mostly in reality TV. I wonder if he knows anything about all these.
Yeah, they just do like servers and it's all remote, which makes me more nervous. I've learned like I talked about earlier, where it's like assembling your team of people that know what they're doing. I did that for this, but I just like wasn't happy with the results. And so now I've turned like I've turned like George Lucas mode, and I'm like doing everything, and I like don't want anyone to do any part of it anymore.
Hey man, you know, like Orson Welles, man.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I don't know. I think it'll be done by next can. That's I think I need one more year with it. At that point, it'll be 5 years ago that we filmed it.
Wow.
But I've learned a lot. You know, I filmed all of that before stepping foot on a film set, where I watched Clint Eastwood direct, I watched Ruben Fleischer direct, I watched a lot of Stranger Things get filmed, a lot that whole Fear Street series for Netflix. I watched all these directors and editors and cinematographers. I spent so much time on set, just like learning that I don't know what I'm doing at all. But I had already done still life. I already shot still life. Like it was already done. So I couldn't change anything. So I think now that going into this fourth short, whenever the hell that happens, might actually be done within a calendar year. Like that's kind of where we're at. And it's so funny because I obviously talked to Tom about it, and I talked to my other 3 editors who have gone through a stint in the still life movie making factory, and I every time I talk to them, I'm just like, this shit's never getting finished.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
Never coming out.
Were you were on the Zombieland 2 set?
Yeah, I supervised on-set security for Zombieland 2.
Any cool Emma Stone stories or anything?
Oh yeah. I can't tell this story. This is when I win an Oscar, I tell the whole world story. No, I'll tell you. It's very, very funny. Okay, I literally remember.
Oh, you do? I was just joking. I mean, but if you've got one, hey.
Oh, yes. I thought you had hinted at this, Dad. Did you not tell him my story?
I think I may have, and
okay. Well,
I don't know whether or not Glenn.
Gracie's never heard it.
Valentine's Day 2019, we were in Atlanta. I was very sick. I was like shitting my pants. And I remember like we were filming at this, it was like a greenhouse that one of the colleges in Atlanta had on their campus. It was like really dilapidated, and they like made it for Zombieland. And we were filming there, and it was like a really tiny scene. In the movie, it's like 10 seconds, which is very funny because we were there for like 3 whole days. But I was so sick, and I couldn't find the bathroom because they were shooting in every direction, so they had to keep moving everything. And when they finally were like, okay, we're taking a break, the bathroom's going to be here for a while, I'm like, cool. So I went to their bathroom, just blew it up. Just destroyed it. And there was a knock at the door, and I was like, oh, hold on. I'm almost done. And I open the door, and it's Emma Stone, Jesse Eisenberg, and what's her name? The girl from
the young girl.
The young girl from Little Miss Sunshine.
Why am I forgetting her name?
Abigail Breslin.
Abigail Breslin.
All 3 of them are standing there. And I was like, okay. So I just like walk past them. Anyway, I turn around, and Emma is the one that went in immediately after me.
Oh, wow.
So
she felt the wrath.
She got all of it.
She smelled the zombie land, probably.
Yeah, probably the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me.
That's a very shitty story.
If no one else, there's not very many people that can say this. So I'm
not very many people have scars from Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson as well. Yeah. See, if he was there, that would have been really embarrassing. I'm a big fan.
Oh man, he would have got mad.
Yeah.
What the hell is it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I had so much fun on all these movies. They're all terrible. But it's so much fun to be on set with people, and it's really just like a learning thing. And because I was in security for a couple years, no one could tell me what to do or where to go because I was like, I'm supposed to be there, you know? So I would like stand next to Clint Eastwood and watch him direct, you know? My old car that I had before this one is in the Mule, the 2018 Clint film. So I just like, you know, I learned so much from Clint Eastwood. I learned so much from Lee Granick, who did the Fear Street trilogy, which just premiered on Netflix this week, actually, the first one. I spent a lot of time on Lovecraft Country for about 10, 11 months. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I learned so much from those experiences that I don't feel bad taking, like, I went from one film every year to now one film. Like I shot them one after another, 16, 17, and 18, but they've been released 16, 20, and 22 maybe. And I don't feel bad about it because I've learned so much on these sets that, you know, not many people can say that. And
you were in Atlanta, you lived in Atlanta. A lot of people might not be aware, but I mean, a lot of films went to Atlanta.
yeah, they call it
became a big, what do they call it?
Yollywood.
Yollywood.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they have a big Marvel contract. MGM opened an office there. I worked at a studio called Black Hall, which
Did Tyler Perry have something over there?
Tyler Perry Studios, yeah, he bought half of a military base and turned it into a studio. He built like the White House and the US Capitol building, like at scale, like huge buildings. So yeah, I mean, Atlanta's great. MGM is building a studio there. Black Hall, which I worked with exclusively for years.
Walking Dead, of course.
Yeah, Walking Dead's been there for over a decade. All of that, there's a bunch of Oprah network shows, BET network shows.
The little Georgia logo.
Yeah,
the
the peach.
Yeah.
The peach.
Made in Georgia.
Yeah, at the end of every Marvel
Family Feud, right?
Family Feud.
Family Feud's there. That's at Tyler Perry Studios. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is there right now. They got, you know, everything. So that's kind of why we moved there in the first place. Was Bryce and Sydney moved there after graduating. They lived there while we made A Safe Place. They flew in for it. Brock also lived there, obviously, because he worked on Walking Dead. And so after we made A Safe Place, it's like, I should just move to Atlanta. And so yeah, we did.
Cool. But, you said you worked on the set of The Mule.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood. I knew a girl who she's a makeup artist. She worked on all of Eastwood's movies.
Oh yeah.
A girl named Heather.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I brought that up.
No,
Heather, what's up?
Yeah, shout out to Heather. No, that's the thing. It's like everybody, and like, you know, Hollywood is very small. Like the festival world is small, Hollywood's small. I mean, I could walk down the street in Canton and run into somebody I saw 5 years ago at a movie theater in LA. Like it's just a small world. Same thing with these sets. I mean, people jump from film to film. People have their teams that go to the same one. You'll know day one if you walk onto a show and a certain person is running a department, you'll be like, oh, so then blah, blah, blah is here, she's here, they're here. I didn't know any of that going into it. So it took me a while to meet the people I needed to get into a team. And then COVID happened. And then I kind of bounced. But very quickly after leaving and coming here, I was offered a position on the new Scorsese movie in Oklahoma. I was offered something in New Orleans. I'm sure if I were to call up somebody, I could go back, but I'm here now and I'm gonna pursue the pilot thing. It's only a 9-month program.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
And yeah.
Well, let's take another quick little break, and we'll continue. We'll get into some of this pilot stuff.
My jazzy one.
All right, so guys, we're gonna Aaron, you say you're into flying now, and that's a 9-month program, really?
Yeah, it's because the pilot industry is very old, and like the pilots themselves are very old. It's a very like boomer centric job. They're all being forced to retire, right?
Oh,
So there's a there's a worldwide pilot shortage. In the next 5 years, over 40 to 60,000 pilots will be retiring in America alone. And the pilot programs are kind of not loosening restrictions, obviously, but they are becoming more accessible. The thing about pilots is an FAA regulated position, obviously. So you can't partake in certain substances, even if they're legal in certain states.
Right.
And so a lot of people just don't fit the criteria. And I don't do anything, so I fit the
Yeah,
criteria.
no substances for the pilot, but the bar is wide open.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can drink all
the
day, all
happy
day.
hour is
As long as you're
officially
not in
on,
uniform. As
folks.
long as you're not in uniform. So that's kind of what I've just been like learning while working at this airline that I'm currently at, is how easy it kind of is to get in. And so I've done a lot of research, talked to a lot of flight schools, and my goal after I finish my degree this next semester in the fall is sometime next year, pick a city with the school and go there and just do it. It's a 9-month thing to learn all of your practical education and knowledge. They just call it your knowledge. And then your practical is hours based, and most airlines won't hire you unless you have 1,500 hours, which takes about 2 years, which after you do your 9-month knowledge, you immediately become a flight instructor at the school you just went to. So then you're paid an hourly rate as a flight attendant or a flight instructor to teach the next class below you while getting your hours.
Interesting.
So you finish your job at 9 months, you go work at the school for 2 years, making $50 an hour. Once you finish your 1,500 hours, you jump into any of the hundreds of airlines. It's one of the few jobs I've ever seen where it's like a built-in job while you're like looking for a job. And the whole time they're like expecting you to like, they don't want you to be there because they need the class that you taught to take your position as a flight instructor. So it's very cool. Everyone I know who is a pilot has either a retired pilot from a main line and they fly regionally, which is what my airline does, or they're just trying to get their hours to go mainline or cargo. So that's kind of the route that I'm looking at. I'll be 28 this year, and by 30 years old, I could be a full-fledged first officer with any major mainline airline. So that's kind of the goal for now.
Nice.
That's good for you, Russ, because you can start traveling with your son's discount.
Exactly. Come August.
My parents, come August, my dad can fly on my benefits even as a ramp agent. So
oh wow, okay.
I love the airline industry. It's one of the very few like $1 million jobs that you have. I think like in all reality, if you play your cards right and at 5 years you're in cargo, you're making $200,000 a year. After 10 years, you've already made $1 million. So I know these people who've been flying for United for 45 years.
Wow.
Like that guy's made $10 million.
Wow.
Dang.
I
never knew that paid that much.
Me neither, man. I should have been a pilot.
No, you can't do any of that. I doubt it with his substance. They'll take his blood and they'll be like, oh, forget it. Forget this guy.
Yep. So that's kind of, meanwhile, I'm still making shorts. I'm still working on this third one. I have plans for a fourth one. And I'll just
man. I mean, do it, do everything you can.
I don't want to teach. So I don't want to go to school and just become a teacher of film because, that doesn't pay the bills very much.
Right.
Whereas I could be a pilot and do a 20-year stint, fly all over the world, make a couple $1 million, and then make a bunch of features. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
it's the long con of sorts, but there's plenty of directors I love who didn't even make their first film until they were 50. There's people who've never been to Cannes, and I've been 3 times, and I'm not even 30. So I'm ahead in some ways, behind in others, but I'm patient.
Yeah, be patient, and there's no time limit. And you know, I'm trying to get back into to DJing. I used to DJ when I was.
Yeah, this DJ stuff.
She doesn't want me to though.
No,
You know,
it's
she
not that I
says
don't
I'm.
want you
She
to.
says I'm too old, and I say bullshit.
Yeah.
I used to DJ in high school, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna get
but
back into it.
But
And
there's no good music now. They're just people talking.
I have no idea what she's talking about. There's plenty of good music out there. Not only new good music, but old good music. You can play old music.
Okay, my question
And-
is,
okay.
what kind of DJ are you gonna be? Like, are you gonna DJ parties?
Yeah, I'm gonna DJ parties. I'm gonna do the whole streaming thing. And I'm gonna keep doing what I do on this show, which is my little vinyl moment, everybody. All right, here we go. I do a little quick vinyl moment where I show off my collection because I'm a vinyl junkie and a vinyl nerd. And today's collection is very fitting. I decided to do soundtracks. All right, these are all vinyl soundtracks that I purchased. And
Sorry, I'm yawning.
yeah.
I didn't get ready to sleep last night.
All right, first one. We'll go through these real quick, guys.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Soundtrack to La La Land. All right, from 2016. I'm a huge fan of this movie, and I'm like an even bigger fan of the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And what's funny about this though is I bought this back when the movie came out, and I didn't have a good record player back then, and I haven't even opened it.
I have so many vinyls downstairs that I haven't opened either. So it's
All right, so that's the first one there. La La Land, music by Justin Hurwitz. Anyways, he won an Oscar for that.
It looks like they have the Watts Tower in the back.
Yeah, well, it takes place in L.A. My favorite song, City of Stars. So, anyways, next one, I picked this up a couple of years ago at Levels in Whittier. Russell, do you remember this movie? Mad Monster Party.
I do. I
Okay.
do.
Want to hold that up there, Gracie? Mad Monster Party was a puppet tune from Rankin and Bass. They're the guys that made, you know, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I think the Frosty the Snowman puppet tune. And this was...
Is Boris Karloff back there?
Video for Phil Collins.
Rankin Bass?
Yeah, they did a video.
It's a Rankin Bass production album.
No, you're thinking of DC Follies. Those
you're
puppets.
right.
This is more like a claymation. And this was the Halloween movie that they made. And the soundtrack is killer. Let me just show you real quick.
Phyllis Diller's in it.
Phyllis Diller's on it, and Boris Karloff does the voice. It's a cool movie. Aaron, have you seen Mad Monster Party?
No, I just pulled it up on Letterboxd and I was looking at it. I recognize obviously the pretty iconic characters, but I've never seen it.
It's a great movie. I mean, the animation will just impress the hell out of you. All done with puppets. Everything from the water, from the way they eat, just little simple things like that. Really cool. And then this vinyl is on pink
That's awesome.
swirl.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's so cool.
All right, next one.
Might be-
Soundtrack to Easy Rider.
Oh wow, yeah,
Right.
Dennis Hopper.
I would say that this is the first or one of the first soundtracks to use like existing music or like popular music, rock music. Steppenwolf, of course.
Yeah.
The band, Jimi Hendrix. And later on, that became more popular. Scorsese does. He's known for that. Of course, Tarantino took it to another level. But I think this was like the first one to use like popular rock music
Yeah.
And this thing jams. I mean, I listen to it all the time.
That's super cool.
Steppenwolf.
I got one for you too. Hold on. I'll do a vinyl thing too.
Do it. This one comes on clear vinyl.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it sounds really cool. So Easy Rider. And we'll do Aaron's next.
Russ, you have any vinyls?
Yeah, Russ. Where's your vinyl, Russ?
I can't find my 45s. I was gonna bring my 45s up, but I can't
I
find
I
them.
don't have any vinyl whatsoever.
I bring out my Mary Poppins.
Okay, well, while Aaron's looking for his, here's one.
I have like 5 versions of this. This is my favorite film of all time. This is technically the vinyl is downstairs, but this is.
I think I know what you're going to show.
You do?
Yeah, I think.
No, I have a bunch of laser discs of this. But here's probably the coolest one. It's a Japanese laser disc of All That Jazz.
All That Jazz. Wow. Great movie. Great freaking movie.
Yeah, my favorite movie ever. But I have so many versions of this film. I have American widescreen laser disc, an extended play stereo, this weird CBS Fox video version, this Japanese version. All That Jazz.
Gracie, have you seen All That Jazz?
Yes, I have.
Bob
It was kind of
Fosse.
bizarre.
Bob Fosse. It's pretty much about him.
Mhm.
He's kind of it's about him, and it's also his homage to 8.5, I think, Fellini's movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, the first song's great. It's on Broadway, the little piano thing. Who else is in there? Ben Vereen is in that movie.
Yeah. What's her name? Not Gina Rollins. She just died a couple months ago.
Yeah.
His girlfriend that plays his girlfriend that he's cheating on his wife with in the movie. Anne Ranking.
Oh, okay. And then
Annie and
And then what's her name?
Jessica Lange.
Jessica Lange. She plays the devil or whatever, the ghost or whatever.
Yeah. Wallace Shawn is in it.
It is a great movie. I love it.
But yeah, so that's my vinyl moment as well.
Cool. Thank you. And let's see, I got a few more. Help, Beatles. Help is a great movie. A lot of people, it's a goofy and well done movie. And this is not the album version. This is actually the soundtrack to the movie. So it's got the score on there too.
Hard Day's Night. I've not seen Help.
I saw Help in the movie theater.
Gracie saw Help when it was out in the theater, right?
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah. Well, we used to go to the movies every Wednesday, and this is why we stopped going to the movies every Wednesday when this movie came out, because every girl was screaming in the movie theater, so you couldn't watch it.
I know my grandma Honey, I think she was in LA when maybe one of those came out. Do you remember this story, Dad?
Yeah, I do.
I don't remember
if she went to the concert and there was girls getting carried away on stretchers.
At the Dodger Stadium?
At Dodger Stadium, yeah.
Yeah, my friend Casey went to that concert at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, she said you couldn't even hear a single bit of music. It was just nonstop screaming. Dodger Stadium.
That's I've heard of stories like that all the time about how they couldn't hear them, basically, right?
Yeah.
August 28th, 1966.
Oh wow.
I was only 10 years old.
Yeah, Grandma was.
Yeah, she was little too. She was
born in 56, right?
Yeah, was it her older sister dragged her over there, or somebody, a family member dragged her along, and she was young.
Wow.
I think that they're releasing in 2016. I'm reading here that there is concert footage, so we might get a concert movie of it.
That'd be cool. I can't wait to see Peter Jackson's new documentary.
Yeah,
that looks really cool. So, okay, here's the last one. Last record. I'm a fan of Giallo. I really like Giallo, and I really love Ennio Morricone. So this is a
Okay.
collection of Ennio Morricone's Giallo scores.
Oh my gosh. I talk about Morricone. My friend has a podcast called Sleazoids.
Uh-huh.
And they're always talking about Argento's films and all the Morricone. My two favorite, I know you didn't ask, but I'm just gonna say my two favorite Morricone film scores that just constantly repeat in my head is his score for Once Upon a Time in America, the Sergio Leone film, which I think is his most beautiful work, which is hard to say because he composed like 200 films and like more than half of them have never been heard because they're not on streaming or anything. But I also think his Bertolucci film 1900 that with Robert De Niro and Gerard Depardieu from I think 79, whatever year Taxi Driver came out, 1900 also came out.
It was 76, I believe.
76. So they both played Cannes in 1976, two Robert De Niro films. But yeah, Ennio Morricone. And I think I'll do you a favor as we transition into Disturbing movies. But the third that Morricone that I think about all the time is the theme for Salo.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, that's not on here. I mean, yeah, it's most of like the stuff he did with Dario Argento. Cat o' Nine Tails is on.
Cat o' Nine Tails, Crystal Plumage.
And of course, very fitting because it's Giallo. The vinyl is yellow.
Oh, that's awesome. Is that Jessica Harper? Who is that?
Yeah, that's Jessica Harper in Suspiria. I think no. That's not Suspiria.
But yeah, amazing. That's super cool. I love.
By the way, Jessica Harper follows me on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, there's my vinyl moment, everybody. The movie soundtracks. I also brought, you know what, just real quick because I bought these the other day. Dusty Springfield, Dusty in Memphis. This one has Son of a Preacher Man, which is on Pulp Fiction. And then I went ahead and picked up a copy of Queen Night at the Opera, which has Bohemian Rhapsody on it, made famous in Wayne's World again.
People can actually know what real album it came from instead of the silver greatest hits album.
Exactly. There it is, Night at the Opera, original from Queen. So there it is, guys. Vinyl. And yes, this DJ is coming back.
Well, I think instead of going out and being a DJ at parties and stuff, wouldn't it be just practical to be DJ in your house? How they have DJs on YouTube now and they just stream?
That's what I said. I said I'm going to get into the streaming stuff.
Okay. I mean, I'm thinking you're going to go to DJ and parties.
You guys heard me, right?
Oh, well, I thought you were going to I thought he was going to go to parties and DJ, which I thought would be like, really? You're going to drag your vinyls to people?
No. I mean, nowadays, Gracie, the way it works is you've got your digital decks and you just take your laptop.
Yeah.
And you've got all your music on there. So
you mean you don't need a big ass van anymore?
We don't need remember the big ass van, Russ?
The free candy van?
People have there's like a company and they buy old ambulances and they turn them into DJs called Jambulance.
Oh wow, I like that.
Yeah, there's like some guy, he owns like 3 or 4 of them. It's very funny.
Jambulance. This is like a portable party.
Yeah.
You call up 911 emergency. We need a party.
Yep.
And there it is.
That's a pretty good idea.
It's a pretty good idea.
Hey, I should do a comedians, huh? Have it called the comedian band. You need comedians, here we come. No.
Put it inside like
comedian party van. Hey, since I don't really get booked that. Oh, speaking of getting booked, I do have a show this Wednesday.
Yes, everyone. Gracie is booked for this Wednesday
at Bruce's in Santa Fe Springs.
Bruce's in Santa Fe Springs. Oh, wow. Get your tickets,
it's
everybody.
Free show.
Oh, it's free. So
get your drink on.
Get your drink on.
Yeah, come and party with me since that'll be my first show at 65.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Very good. Very good.
So do you get a
discount? No.
AARP card for that?
I had that since I was 50.
Well, always getting the deals.
That's right. So Are we ready for the 99.99?
All right, we're gonna do our little 99-cent store segment because we have to, right? It's 99-cent store.
Oh yeah, 99,
time.
99. See, I tried to do. I want the 99s like little cent signs come down.
Yeah, we don't have the budget for that.
You don't
okay?
have the budget.
We only have, this stuff. This little
Yeah, but these the Christmas. But you're
rinky-dink.
I do 99 cent. He brings out the Christmas bulbs.
Have you seen
bulbs.
the YouTube show, Aaron?
I've not.
Yeah, well, we've got some special effects in there. Take
There's the fireworks.
Yeah.
4th of July.
He throws that in too.
Yeah, we have fireworks. They're not very big, but they kind of pop up from here sometimes.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Sometimes he has bats flying.
All right, Gracie, what's the crap from the 99-cent store this week?
I think you're gonna appreciate this 99-cent store thing.
Okay.
You know why? Because you have a beard. I got some beard oil.
Oh wow, more
Beard oil
cool.
for your beard.
Okay.
So this is awesome. This is 99 cents, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Let's open it up and check this out.
Okay, I'll go ahead and it says white birch and tobacco scented beard oil.
Wow.
And the other one, I got some beard wax.
Beard wax.
Beard wax.
That's pretty cool.
So you can have that because I don't have a beard. I shave.
Okay. So yeah, this is doesn't have a brand.
Open it up.
It just says beard and stash wax.
Okay.
You should go full handlebar.
Yeah,
I guess so,
check
right?
it out. Let's see.
Let's give it a whiff.
Let's try that wax. And then this one you just groom your beard with.
Nice.
99 cents. See, you never know what you're gonna find there.
The last time I went to the 99-cent store, I bought cilantro. That's it.
You're wrong.
Because I didn't have any, and I was too lazy to go to the full store. And there's a 99-cent store around the corner.
And you would have got it cheaper at the regular store because it's usually 3 for $1.
Yeah, it's like you get a bunch of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the 99-cent store is like.
Okay, I don't know what I'm smelling here.
Does it smell?
It smells like tobacco.
Okay, so it's not lying.
No, it smells. It smells like mint, like lime.
Lime.
Like a. I think it
I'm
smells
not
like
smelling
lime.
anything.
Well, maybe
No.
it's like that fancy bar of chocolate company from Wales that makes chocolate that smells like old books.
So just put some on your try it. We're not talking about smelling it.
All right, let me put some on my here. We'll do that. How about that?
Well, you don't have to do your beard because I got some beard oil for your face, your beard.
All right. Well, we don't need
Again,
to.
we have the same hair.
Yes, we do. How long have you been growing yours out?
This August will be 2 years.
Oh wow. I've had long hair for like 20 years now.
I've had long hair my whole life. Yeah, I remember.
I just get it cut every now and then. Just trimmed.
Yeah, I probably will at the 2-year mark get some kind of trim.
I usually get like a couple inches off. Oh man, great! You're dropping it. Hold on. Yeah, these are really weak in scent.
Well, that's good because you don't want to have a scent on your face.
That's the whole point, isn't it?
No, put it on. Just put a little bit, rub a little bit of oil on it. See how it makes your beard.
Okay,
shiny.
relax. Okay, I'm only doing this because it's your birthday tomorrow.
Thank you. Oh wow, check it out. Your beard looks really shiny.
Does it? I don't think so.
Oh yeah, it looks glamorous.
This is ridiculous. Now my hands are all sticky.
No. Are you going to use these products?
Yeah, sure. When I run out of, for an emergency,
When you run out of the good stuff.
There you go.
How do you know this is not good stuff?
Because it's from the 99-cent store.
That stuff lasts forever, though. I still have the Bayrum aftershave that you gave me like a year ago.
Oh, okay.
I still have that, but that stuff just lasts forever.
Yeah.
All right, so that was 99-cent store time, Grace.
That's it. I just didn't want to
That
do
was
any food.
There it is.
You guys can't taste it. We had food. You guys can't taste it.
So, Aaron, you were talking about Salo, and I noticed on your, your social media, you've got like 20 posters of Salo. It looks like.
Yeah.
Salo is a film by Pasolini. Pier Paolo Pasolini. It's based on
his final film.
It's his last film. It's based on the novel by the Marquis de Sade. But he makes it take place in fascist Italy.
Yeah, like I think a year after the war. So they're still just like holdouts from Mussolini's party. They just live in this beautiful mansion on, I think, Lake Como in Italy on the Swiss border. Salo is, I was thinking about this last night about how to like describe it without sounding crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it is, I think it's obviously disgusting, but I also think it's like genuinely very funny. There's three ways to like look at Salo. You could be like, okay, this is one, just Pasolini being gross and like just be like have a very like kindergarten understanding of it, being like, oh, it's about sexual depravity and grossness and like, oh, they eat poop. How funny. Or you can look at it as like some kind of metaphor about the Holocaust, which is what a lot of scholars like try to say, but I'm like, I don't think so. And then other ways is I think what I think is and why he was killed for it, because he was murdered before the premiere of the film, which you can watch. Abel Ferrara made a film called Pasolini, about the last day of his life, which is so amazing. That came out, I think, in 2014. Kino Lorber has.
So it's Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe as Pasolini. Kino Lorber has a sale right now. You can get it for $9, the Blu-ray of it. But basically, I think Pasolini is just having fun with the audience. The book was written in prison on like scrolls of toilet paper hidden in the bricks of the castle walls, and it took 100 years for them to compile all this stuff and make a book. And no one knows if that's what Marquis de Sade even like wanted. Like, you know, he just had notes and people put the notes together and called it a book. But I think Pasolini just took it and was like, all of these things in the book are so like different levels of depravity, but at a certain point, the audience is going to like some of the things shown in this. And at a certain point, they're going to make a mental note and they're no longer okay with it. And at that point, which is about halfway through the film, is when it's funny, because then the characters themselves are like telling stories about these horrible things that happen to them. But meanwhile, they're like eating tea sandwiches and like lounging around and like just laughing about it. And it's very funny. And I'm sure a lot of people find it not funny. But the characters themselves are laughing. And I think we're supposed to enjoy it as some cruel joke that we're in on.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to disturbing films, for me, I mean, some of them, they just, you know, they're pure exploitation right away. And you just take it for what it is. It's either garbage or you're going to get off on it. But there's some that are just genuine works of art. I mean, and they're things that I think they have to be seen. I mean, we've been seeing stuff like this since the beginning of art, since the beginning of time. I mean, you know, depictions of the crucifixion, you know, beheadings and things like that, the graphic details. I mean, you remember when we were at that museum in Spain, you know, all those crazy, you know, paintings. And I think this movie's in that kind of tradition. But like you said, it's a crazy movie. It's disgusting. I wouldn't show it to her. I mean, I wouldn't say, hey, Gracie, you got to see this movie. Well, she just wouldn't like it. I mean,
I think I want to see it now.
She'd get pissed off at me.
Hey, well, the Criterion Collection owns it currently, and right now Barnes & Noble is having their 50% off Criterion sale, so go pick up Salo for $19.99 and watch it.
I think I saw it. I got it on Netflix like a long time ago, like on disc.
On a disc, yeah. For a very long time, it was very hard to. That's the thing about these films, like. There's lots of filmmakers that make horribly disgusting films and then they're banned or edited or whatever, and they're impossible to catch or watch again. A good example is Ken Russell's The Devils, which like was made in the 70s around the same time as Salo, and only in the last like 3 or 4 years have people, including film critics and scholars who are very prominent today, have seen these films for the first time. Ken Russell's The Devils is like, it's like about a nun who sees the devil instead of Christ, and during her like novitiate sermon to become a nun, and instead of marrying Jesus, she marries the devil. And when that came out in the 70s, it was so crazy. It like depicts her killing Christ, and everyone was like, you know, so offended by it, and all the blasphemy and everything. So it was banned in like every single country in the world.
The Devils?
It's called The Devils, yeah, by Ken Russell. I think it came out in 75. Let me pull it up.
And can you find that? Can you find it now?
Yes, it came out in 1971. Yeah, you can watch it.
It might be on Shudder.
Yeah, it might be. Hold on.
Shudder is a horror film app. Let me change the battery over here in our camera. You guys, we have this audio, so we can always just keep going. There.
Let's see. You can. Yeah, I mean, they have it on really horrible region like B Italian DVDs. Let's see. But I watched it. Yeah, it's on Shudder right now.
Oh, you have Shudder, right?
Yeah, I have Shudder.
Yeah, you can watch it on Shudder.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah, with Vanessa Redgrave and Oliver Reed. Yeah, it's a very, very incredible movie. But yeah, so when I think about Salo, I think about The Devils. And like you said, like these things have artistic value. I have these conversations all the time about people like today making these underground horror movies that are just garbage. And really hold.
Yeah, it's all you know, like it's all porn, you know, it's all horror
like
porn or whatever.
Value.
And
I'm in a horror movie.
Gracie was in a horror movie last year that they're still working
no,
on.
Last year was like before COVID.
Yeah, 2 years ago. They're still working on that. I mean, so yeah, I mean, we know how long it.
Yeah, because I had to redo some screams and send it to him about a month ago.
Yeah. There's lots of like there's filmmakers today. There's a guy named Lucifer Valentine who has made this series called the Vomit Slaughter Dolls. I think there's 4 of them now. Just the worst things I've ever seen in my life. And people love that shit. I don't know. It's everything has an audience.
Yeah. So I comprised a little list, a list of like disturbing films that I think are worth watching. And Russ, I don't know if I told you to maybe get a little list together if you have one. I'm going to run through these real quick. Audition, horror film.
I just bought that. I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Audition yet?
Yeah, no, I just bought a Blu-ray of it.
Awesome. Enjoy. It's a horror movie. Completely unpredictable. That's what I really love about it. It's like you have no idea what's going on. Then all of a sudden, when it hits you, it hits you. It's like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, no,
anyways, enjoy that one. Another one is Man Bites Dog. Have you ever heard Man Bites Dog?
I'm pulling this up.
Man Bites Dog is a mockumentary that follows around a serial killer. And the 2 filmmakers, it's kind of I think that's where they got the idea for Blair Witch. The 2 filmmakers are there. They're just following around this serial killer as he does his business. And then they interview him on the side and he brags about what he does. Man Bites Dog from France. There's a Criterion Collection version with a really messed up cover. You see the killer like shooting down and you see like a bunch of blood and like a little pacifier that's floating around.
Oh, yeah.
So check out Man Bites Dog. The next one I wrote down was Bad Lieutenant with Harvey Keitel. Abel Ferrara.
Yeah, a few months ago.
Let's see. I had Solo on here. Everybody knows about Clockwork Orange. I still think that's a little bit of a disturbing film, but definitely a must see. And then my number one most disturbing movie is Irreversible.
Oh
by
yeah,
Gaspar Noé.
big fan.
I'm a big fan of it, but it's just one of those movies that I mean I've seen it once and I think that's enough.
Well, did you there's a new version?
No, I didn't know that.
Hold on a sec. I'll be back in 1 minute. Hold on.
So Irreversible, it's a movie about a rape and getting revenge for a rape, but it's told completely backwards. You literally see the final scene first, and then it just goes back and back and back and back, and then as you go to the beginning, you see how it developed. The reason, I mean, I don't know why he chose to film it that way, but it gives you more impact on that. And I know other film critics have said this. It just gives that moment more impact, I think.
Isn't there something to do with this, the score to that as well?
Yeah. So one of the guys from Daft Punk, I don't remember what his name is. I have the new Blu-ray restoration, which just came out like a month or two ago.
Was it Guy Manuel or
no,
Thomas?
It's Thomas Bangalter.
Yeah.
Reach over there. I can plug it right here.
Yeah, Thomas Bangalter made
Plug it right here.
the music, and one of the songs has like the brown note or whatever it's called, that like makes people sick.
Yeah.
It's real fun. If you want to have a good time, put that song on and then go drive down an empty freeway and don't pay attention, and randomly you'll be like, wow, I'm driving 120 miles an hour.
And
it's
that's so you're saying this is the soundtrack to
Yeah, so in Irreversible, the opening sequence when they're in the club,
right,
that song in the background makes people sick.
That's what actually people have been complaining that there's been like political people that have been targeted with that sound.
There's a poster. Really?
Yeah, that the people in like they'll get the sound to emanate into a building and it'll make people sick.
And it's interesting.
Yeah, using it as a counter protest method.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But the reason I mention this is that, like you were mentioning, the films in reverse. There's a new version that was at Venice last year or 2019. He calls it Irreversible Integral. It's his his new version, but the film is in chronological order.
Oh,
which is very weird. I haven't watched it yet. Maybe I should, because I have this is region B, but I bought a region free Blu-ray player. But yeah, the new version, it's 8 minutes shorter, which is very weird.
interesting.
So I don't know what can be missing, because the film's not very long to begin with.
Right.
It's only 98 minutes, and now it's 90.
And then you know what? Something that never gets mentioned about this movie, it's like Monica Bellucci, and what's his name? And Vincent, and the other actor too. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. Yeah, but I mean the acting job that she does. I mean, I don't think this is like a spoiler alert. All right, there's a rape.
Oh, Dupontel.
What was his name?
Dupontel.
Dupontel. And that rape scene, I mean, man, I mean, I wouldn't show it to you. I mean, it's just, it's horrifying. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's horrifying. It's exhausting. And it's like, my God, I can't believe that they filmed that, but it just, that's another thing about these movies, is the work that goes into them, to make it seem so shocking.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the crazy thing about Irreversible that not a lot of people mention is that there was no script. The whole film was based off of a one-page like story treatment that he showed a producer, and Monica Bellucci and Gaspar were like meeting, and they're like, hey, we should just do this. And Monica and Vincent were married at the time. And so they just like made the movie in a couple weeks. Like, but yeah, no, it changed the world, really.
Yeah, it's a crazy movie. It's not for everybody, but you know, I like the way it ends. You know, there's a it's a, what can I say? It's a great film.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it is a hard thing to talk about, but it is just, it changed the world forever. So you can't hate it too much.
Russ, do you have a list?
I've got a short list. Irreversible was on there. Another one that I actually recently rewatched the original was Old Boy.
Oh yeah,
Old Boy, because a lot of people talk shit about what's the remake, and
Spike Lee's remake.
Yeah, which I liked, but I wanted to go back and watch the original to get a point of reference, and you can't beat the twist at the end. I mean, there's just so much involved in getting to that point that you're like, oh,
and
it's
just it's disgusting, and it's like, oh my God, what?
Yeah. So yeah, Old Boy hit pretty hard. Another one that I'm not a what's his name, Eli Roth fan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I never liked Hostel or any of that. But
Hostel 2 is so good.
That's what I was going to say. Hostel 2.
Yeah.
I think he figured it out.
Yeah.
And the torture scenes in that are just insane.
Yeah, man. Again, the actors.
The acting that has to be involved in that. I mean, it blows my mind.
Yeah. I laugh all the time at that part when he's like, I'm not your wife or whatever, and he's like, I can't call my wife a bitch, and then he like kills her or whatever. It's like so funny. Like he just wants to kill his wife so bad that he's like pay 50 grand to kill some stranger or whatever. What a film.
And then the thing in the back of my mind is that this exists.
Yeah. Yeah, Hillary Clinton, she's done it. I'm convinced that that's where Donald Trump met Ivanka. Was that one of those, or not Ivanka? What's her name? Melania. He met Melania at one of those things, and he didn't want to kill her.
Yeah,
I can
definitely see that.
Yeah, because was she from Slovenia, and isn't that where Hostel takes place? Is in Slovenia?
I think so.
Yeah.
There's one I read about. I haven't seen. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but I've read some awful things. It's called a Serbian film.
Yeah, everyone talks about that. I don't.
Is it?
I haven't seen it.
I think I've seen it.
I haven't either, and probably for the reasons why just I don't want to see it. My all-time favorite movie is not horror, but it is definitely one that makes you cringe. You're not comfortable watching it, and it's is it Ukrainian, Aaron? Loveless.
Yeah, Loveless is from Ukraine, from 2017.
We saw that at AFI, and it changed my life. It's my all-time favorite film. It's just about a couple that are feuding. They hate each other's guts, and their son is going through all of this divorce, and he goes missing, and nobody notices he's gone for like 3 days because the parents could give zero shits about their son, and he disappears off the face of the earth. Yeah.
Loveless?
It's called Loveless. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is an amazing film. I don't know how it has not been adapted here in the US, but
oh man, I gotta check it out.
Yeah,
it's incredible. And when I first saw Loveless, I saw it at Cannes in 2017. I immediately was like, my dad's gonna love this. It's very because it's like it's about divorce, but it's like I think the poster is like I have the poster in my living room downstairs. But it says like a marriage in disarray, a country in destruction, and a child is missing. And it's like about all of these. It's about Russia falling apart, the 2016 election, this marriage falling apart. But all of the people care more about that stuff than they do about a missing kid. And it's like pretty. It's very, very good.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, you definitely need to check that out. And then the last one we saw this at Lemley's was Come and See.
Yeah, Come and See from Russia, right?
Russia, Soviet film, and which was banned and didn't see the light of day until, was it the 90s the first time they finally got it released?
Yeah, I think early 90s. And then I saw it for the first time, I think in like 2015 on a really shitty like live leak Russian link. And it was in like 10 parts, like 10 minutes long each. So I had to it took like 3 days to watch it because I couldn't find all of the parts. And then it was restored by Sovietfilm or Mosfilm, my bad. Mosfilm restored it in 2018. It played at Venice, and then Janus and Criterion bought it, and that's how you guys saw it in theaters. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, we saw it last year.
Before COVID.
The weekend before the lockdown.
Yeah, me too. Yep, I saw it that March.
We were in the theater with people coughing and moving around, and
shit.
you know, we were right there, and then
we were crammed in there in this tiny little theater.
Well, now Lemley's closed, right? Lemley's closed.
Santa Monica, I'm not sure. That was Lemley Santa Monica. I don't know. Is it still
Are they all closed?
Are they?
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I still get emails.
Oh, maybe Lemley's closed then. Because what's it called? Like shut down. They just went out of business. I can't remember the name of the freaking chain. But the
AMC?
Cinema Dome. No, the Cinema Dome.
Oh,
Cinerama Dome?
Cinerama Dome, yeah.
On Hollywood
Pacific.
Boulevard.
Was it in Pacific Theaters? Or I don't know, man.
But yeah, they went out. They went out of business. So hopefully Tarantino just bought the Vista.
Oh, nice.
I can't imagine the Cinerama Dome going away.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
no, I don't think Hollywood's gonna let it go away.
Yeah, it can't.
Someone's gonna buy it. I'm sure AMC is gonna, or Amazon or something will snatch it up.
Yeah.
Well, those were some good lists, and you know what, guys? I think this was a good talk.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hi, Russ.
Thanks a lot for doing this, guys. I really appreciate it. Aaron, you know, all the best to you and your pilot career. But look, when you finish Still Life, you got to come back on this show, and we'll talk about it
and promote it.
And I want to let everyone know that you can find you know, Aaron and Russ's film on YouTube. It's called A Safe Place. You could also go on grandmahoneyfilms.com and check out all the filmography there. And hey, guys.
Sorry, I'm yawning. I didn't sleep very good last night.
Thanks a lot for being on the show. Thanks, Russ.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
We'll see you soon, man.
Perfect. Have a great night. Thanks. It was so fun.
You too.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, guys.
All right, and thanks for watching out there. Thanks for listening right here. This is Going Nuts with Glenn and Gracie podcast. I'm Glenn the Baker.
And I'm Gracie, and this is the last day I'll be 64.
Yes, Gracie turns 65 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Gracie.
Happy birthday to me.
All right.
Good night, guys.
Perfect. Have a good night, y'all.
Thanks, Aaron.
Night. Thank you.
Good night, man.
Good night.
Good night, Dad.
Good night, son.
That's so cute, huh?